Well, the first thing I'll say is extremely proud of this football team. I went to the game. I got back about 45 minutes ago. One thing you can't say is that we came out scared or the moment was too big for us. You know, the impression I got under Collins was like we were just scared to play a really good team. Like, hey, this team's really, really good, elite players. I didn't get that sense at all. If you would have told me the score would have been 10-7, we were down by 3 at half, that we were winning at the end of the first quarter. And I know the game, got more out of hand at the end, but I don't think there's a single person, Georgia fan or not, that would have said, yeah, there's a good chance it could be really close like that at half. We scored on the opening drive, which I don't know if there's any Georgia fans that watch this. I've seen some comments. I don't think Georgia's been scored on in the opening drive this year. And I don't know how far back you have to go into last year to find a team that scored against Georgia on their opening drive, which we were able to do on the road in Athens. So we came ready to play, and I thought we looked really good. Now, what I thought would be a problem for us when I talked in the last video, I thought we'd have problems scoring points, and we'd have problems keeping Georgia from hitting big plays. But I've got the stats in front of me. Georgia was 6 of 13 on third down. We were 3 of 13. They were 2 for 2 on fourth down. We were 2 for 4. Total yards are 255. For us and 407 for them. We outpassed them, though. We had 255 yards to the air. They had 143. The difference really being they had 264 yards, rushing yards. We had 40. We were averaging 1.4 yards a rush. They were averaging 6.4. The thing is, that doesn't really tell the story of how the game went because I was at the game, and there was shock when we got into the half. There were people stunned and upset and angry in Athens. I think everyone was stunned. The issue was when we came out in the third quarter, we made pivotal mistakes. And even in the first half, we hit Dylan Leonard across the middle. He might have scored, probably not, but he probably would have got it was like a second down and 10. Leonard's wide open coming across the middle. Hits him in the hands and he drops it. And there's not a guy within 10 or 15 yards of him. You can't do that when you're trying to upset and beat the best team in the country. And we had we had a few drop passes that just, I thought Gibson played really well. He threw for 255 yards against a pretty dang good defense. Problem being in the third quarter, we had 1 yard of offense, and we turned the ball over in the red zone twice. I had noticed before, we didn't get the punt off how low the snap was coming off. So we give them basically 14 points on turnovers. That punt didn't count technically as a turnover, but that's a turnover. And I think that the talent gap, just once things like that started happening, the rails started to come off. Now, Georgia did not cover the point spread, so I guess there's, a victory in that for whatever that's worth. But we played our tails off. We don't have a single player on our team that would start for Georgia. And I think we only have one, maybe two, that will play second string. And I'm talking about our starters. There's maybe two of our starters that would even play in a backup role. That's how talented Georgia is. That is how out of whack the parity has gotten between the two schools. I think Keon White and Charlie Thomas might might have backup roles at Georgia. But I'm very happy with how things went because last year we get beat 45-0, and we were never, ever in that game. We were never in that game. Plus, there was probably 5 or 10-1 Georgia fans to Tech fans at Bobby Dodd. That's embarrassing. That's the most embarrassed I've ever been as a Tech fan, and it was so refreshing to see us come out and show some fight and not be afraid and bow our backs up a little and give Georgia a game. Now, I'll also say this. I was treated very well by the Georgia fans there. The people that sat around me were delightful. There was a guy with his daughter that sat next to me. He even offered to get me and my dad something to drink. He was going to buy us something to drink. So kudos, to all the Georgia fans. I was treated very well at Sanford Stadium. So that being said, I think we have. Key wouldn't talk about it in the press conference. He was saying, look, this is all about the kids. That's absolutely the right answer. And I also like to hear him say, like, well, how do you feel? Basically, how do you feel playing them close? And Key says, I'm never going to feel good after a loss. Like, it makes me think of that Jets coach. You play to win the game. You play to win the game. And that's what he said. Like, the goal is to win. We're not out here to play anyone close. We're here to win the ball game. If you're not out there to win, then why get off the bus? So, Brent Key, I believe, is 4-4 since he's taken the job over. We talked about in the last video, I think the over-under, the most generous over-under you'd get on wins would be 2. He's won 4. He's beat Pitt, Duke, North Carolina, Virginia Tech. Underdogs in every one of those games. We were favored in 2 games we lost. We were slightly favored against Virginia, and we were like a 1.5-point favorite against Miami at home, which I don't even know if you can call it. I mean, that's really a toss-up game. So, I'll be honest with you. I think I think Brent Key should be named the permanent head coach Monday. I think the interim tag should be taken off next week. I think he's absolutely earned the job. I think he's the right guy for Tech. It seems like Chadwell or Key, that's kind of been my attitude as well. I don't like what I see from having to vacate 18 wins from previous years where Chadwell was the coach, where they played ineligible players. There was like funds misappropriated for athletes. Now, to be fair, it was amongst or spread across 12 sports, but football was included. And on my list, I have Key above Jimmy Chadwell. I'll put it to you this way: if we don't hire Brent Key to be our head coach, someone else will. And someone else will this offseason. I'm not saying it's going to be a big power D1 school. Someone else will hire him to be their head coach if we don't, though. I guarantee you that. What he's done in 8 games at Tech has really undone a lot of the 3.25 years that Collins put us in the worst position our program's probably ever been in, or has been in recent history. And all of a sudden, like, you can see it in the fan base. The fan base is excited. People are showing up. There was a fair amount of Tech fans at the game. I mean, there were people that came out to see it. I'll tell you this, I don't think Georgia gets 90% of our tickets at Bobby Dodd with Brent Key coaching. So, tell me what you guys think. like I said, I'm really proud of the team. We'll see if we get in a bowl with 5 wins. There's some things that have to happen. I haven't memorized, each step in the algorithm to us making a bowl with 5 wins. Certain teams have to lose, certain teams have to win. Do you guys think that it's time to announce Brent Key as the permanent head coach? And if not, who's your guy? Is it Chadwell? Excuse me. Or do you have someone else in mind? Y'all have a good one.